You're listening to the Dankest Rebellion. Stay tuned after the show for a DSR Talks original inspired by the man, the myth, the legend, Rattlesnakedre.
History began on July 4th, 1776. Everything before that was a mistake.
Welcome to the Dankest Rebellion. We're here once again. I'm Cody. We're gonna see what's up today. We got T. Blanche here. What's going on, man? How are you today?
Well,
that's Blanche. One fucking Yeah, I hear you.
doing good, man. Like I stopped taking Phil's medicine, and I'm feeling a lot better, dude. Like I feel like a person again.
We'd probably feel better about you borrowing his meds that way if you would share. But you bogarting all of them is not fucking cool.
And now look at Phil.
I'm back on the meds. Talking up again. Belligerent Phil's here. Also, we have a special guest for you guys. We've been talking about this for a while. Actually, on the last show, we had mentioned it. We have Andre Brunet here. Say hi to the listeners.
What's up, guys? I am Andre Brunet. I am also known as Rattlesnakedre. That is my character on YouTube and Instagram and now TikTok, which I'm...
TikTok's a whole other world, ain't it?
Yeah.
How's it feel to be a personality outside of what you normally are, which is a fucking huge personality in the first place?
Right. Okay. So, I mean, my step into... I guess the minimal stardom is not nothing super serious because I was only noticed in public a few times, which allowed me to see like, wow, this is the perks and this is the really shitty parts of being
right.
a semi-celebrity.
At least known. Right?
Noticed.
Right.
Notice me.
Basically, I got free cheese sticks, a couple free beers, and then 2 weeks later, it was all gone.
Fizzled out.
It's back to, hey man, how you doing? You doing great? Okay. But,
the cheese sticks have run dry.
Yeah, so sad because it was a glorious 2 weeks while it lasted.
So tell us a little bit about what you do, man.
Okay, well, so my latest venture I was on the History Channel in 2019, and in a little while I'll get into how I made it to the History Channel, which was a little bit of determination. I had my personality ready to go from years prior.
Yeah.
And a whole lot of luck.
You've been cultivating that a long fucking time, man.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I was doing something. And I guess at the right moment, I figured I'm gonna jump on this and I'm gonna give it everything.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've been knowing Andre since the 8th grade. You were my first friend that I made whenever we moved to La Rose.
Right. Because
So
we lived down the same street. You were like
a house
houses
apart, man.
Right.
And dude, how old are you in 8th grade? Like 14?
I just had I caught a chicken in a net in your yard one day.
Yeah, that sounds like something from Salafouche.
Right. Well, we let it go because,
Because you was being nice.
Right.
You didn't want to pass too much from his eye, you know?
Yeah. You don't want to pass the museum on anyone.
Right.
Unless it's yourself.
That's babon.
That's what Jesus would do. In a good Christian way, all the motherfuckers in the church, me.
But me and Tyler have known each other for a very long time. So we were friends. A few years bounced down the road. He was into music. I had gotten into music. And I'd like to just go ahead and say I am not a musically talented person. I am strictly entertainer.
Yeah.
And I was approached by a group of friends that were looking for a singer in a band. And I was like, I could do that.
Hell yes, you can.
So
Famous last words.
As it should be.
Right. So I was actually in a heavy metal band called Sons of the South, which lasted about 2 years.
Yeah,
Like, it was
had
really
a good run, man. Y'all did well.
And Tyler was definitely there for some of the creative parts,
Yeah, I can see that.
So I do that's what I'm saying. We went way back, but he was there for a lot of stuff. But that led me to understand. I mean, the first time I grabbed the mic and actually understood what I was doing, because for the first few months it was garbage.
Right.
I was completely scared, but once you understood the power that you had, I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah, once you understand that, no matter, and it's not just being a front man, because I've sang in bands for years and years and years of my life, but the biggest thing is to understand that if you think you can do better, come grab this mic out of my hand. That's the biggest thing. They got 100 people sitting there watching you, and not one of them's got the balls to get up on the stage and grab it.
Right, and they all could tell you what you did wrong, or man, you should have done this.
Okay, we'll go do it.
Yeah,
that's the way I was, man. You want to do it? Do it, bro.
Here you go.
Yeah,
but
by all means.
I hope everybody gets to experience that one time in their life when they just like everything just clicks, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, I was 24.
Right. And it goes with everything, because I remember a point in high school when I didn't understand women. I didn't know how to get a girl. I was lucky if I had a girlfriend, and then it got to a point.
And that point in your life came, the poon was just coming like the moon was right and the shrimp was coming in.
Right. It's definitely a full moon at some times, but it's just understanding when you understand life at that level, then you just choose what you want to do. Some people choose to be a male whore. Some people choose to be an entertainer, and I really enjoyed it. I think I could put multiple masks on, and I can become whoever I want.
That's one of the main reasons why we started this show, is because we all had those similar instances with us, and this has broke us out more and more and more out of all of those. Tyler calls it the fifth wall, breaking down the fifth wall. It's like
right,
and that's what life's about. And I agree with you on that. The majority of people I find that walk this planet never ever get even a slight sense of that.
No, they don't, and
they're just lost sheep.
It's not even that they don't want to. It's just
they don't even know where to start.
They don't even know that it exists outside of following what someone's influence is. Like I could easily say every person in this room has the understanding outside of what the normal is, like something that you think for yourself. We all do it very well, and that's why we have the show. But as far as like seeing Andre perform is fucking hilarious to me, because he's absolutely right. Like he went in as an entertainer, and the vocals came afterwards. Right. And that's why I loved it so much, because it was just fucking raunchy. And you were just an asshole on the stage. And for that style of band, which was like Southern fried metal.
Oh, yeah.
Core-esque.
Good shit to get drunk
when
to.
When was that? Like 2008, 9, something like that?
It was actually, and this is another thing I'll bring up. It was right in the middle, because I was electrocuted.
What? Wait, what?
Yes.
So
like real electrocuted? Or?
Yeah. Well, at the time I was in the band, I was an electrician, and we were not like go fix your house electrician.
Not a very good electrician then.
No.
Okay.
Well, actually,
not licensed.
Actually, the fucking best electrician.
I was actually in charge of training everybody. So that I don't know if that's
not so
good or bad.
So
you took it like a champ, dog.
How many house fires are you responsible for?
I'm going to show you guys what not to do.
Yeah. But basically, we were industrial electricians, and we built a lot of the buildings you see in Fouchon. Mm-hmm. I would say maybe 20% were done by the company. I'm not going to mention that company.
Yeah, we're not sponsored by them. Fuck them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I still have friends that work there, and they're very professional.
No, it's cool.
It was just a mistake that day, but I was electrocuted. I was killed. My heart stopped 5 different times that day, where I had to get.
Holy shit!
We have a zombie on the air, folks.
Right. I still don't know if I'm alive or this is just some type of dream.
No.
This is a simulation.
We believe in the Matrix here.
Honestly, things have been rolling pretty fucking smooth since then. Because right after
is that coincidental?
Yeah. Like, I got a divorce right after that, and life was just
congrats, man.
Yeah.
Was that?
I love you, baby.
Was that before or after you broke your dick?
Well,
that was okay. I didn't even know you knew that story. Okay.
The internet's a fucked up place, man.
Yeah. Well, listen, I do have a bunch of very young people that follow me, so I'm very sorry, but you're gonna get pushed into maturity really soon. But
treasure hunt this baby.
I did have an accident. Basically, you're supposed to hit the bullseye, and I was way left.
Oh yeah.
And basically, how do I explain this?
Your dick made a U-turn. Is what happened. Yeah, look back at you.
You ever go to eat a
Kit?
You ever go eat a Kit Kat and you just miss your mouth and you catch the corner of your mouth and it breaks?
Yes.
The funniest thing was I had to tell my boss, I'm like, look, half of my dick is swollen on one side. I have to go to the doctor. And he's like, what did you do? I was like, I broke my dick, dude. I don't know how else to explain that to you.
I fell on a rat trap. What do you want?
How long have you been doing it? Like, how long have you took on the persona of Rattlesnakedre?
Well, whenever Rattlesnakedre was there before I went on the History Channel.
Right.
So, well, let me get started on even how we got to the History Channel. And I'll get to the name. So, I worked at a hardware store, which no longer exists. So I can go ahead and tell the name of it. It was called Keefe Hardware.
It's gone?
It's gone.
Oh, is that
It's
the
a new
videos
owner.
that are on YouTube?
Yes.
Because those are great. Y'all had some awesome videos
Yeah,
on that
some
store.
funny
Yeah, I
stuff.
had
That
the
looked familiar.
best milkshakes.
We did.
Was it the for reals?
The hardware store had the best milkshakes and cutoff.
We had coffee. We had guns. We had a tapped
Dude.
keg
It was-
in the store.
it was the
I bought
sickest fucking
an
store
LSU
ever.
balling pot from these niggas. It was awesome.
It sounds
Yeah.
like a general store for a bunch of deplorables. I'm loving this. How did that place get shut down?
It was just a bunch of bad stuff that all happened at
All
the
of-
same time.
All
Okay.
the spiders in the back.
No, for a second I thought
Heard
it was
about
like,
that shit.
like there's a meth lab in the back, and it just that's all she wrote.
Well, dude, I remember when Keefe was on on LA1,
Yeah.
and dude, we were probably like young whenever that was out. But Keefe Hardware, yeah. So you were working at Keefe.
I was working at Keefe Hardware, and I had started out as just the warehouse guy. I kind of ran through the ranks to the floor manager, and I kind of liked it there. And what happened was we would go on these trips to go and buy new product, and he would send some of the workers out there because he wanted new inventive stuff. Like he sent some of the, I guess, the most creative of his workers, because it was like
Visionaries.
well, it was a bunch of misfits from the bayou, people that really couldn't work anywhere else.
So you put them in one
He
building.
put them all in one building and gave them money and freedom.
Recipe for success. I mean,
Right,
come
and
on.
he was
Money
doing
and freedom. What is that?
he was doing really great for a while, and so we would go to these different venues where you can go and buy in bulk all these crazy things. That's not even part of the story.
Like a
but
vendor show.
I will
type.
tell you this though. Keefe Hardware was probably the cleanest hardware store I've ever been in my life.
it's because I was sweeping.
I'm telling you, it was clean in that fucker.
But no, actually, we have a very cool person that was sweeping there, and he still works there today. The new building's called Melico Hardwares. Shout out. And
Holla, not sponsored yet.
no, hit him up. But the same guy that sweeps there is the same guy I worked with. Worked there way before me. His name is Kenny. He's legit. He's pretty cool. Anyway, so the owner was approached by a television company that was trying to film basically a reality TV show. You remember that show like Jersey Shore?
Yeah.
They were trying to do that with
Coon
hardware.
asses? Oh, with hardware?
With a hardware store. And
What a great spot to do it.
Oh my
too.
listen,
God,
it
that's
was
so
crazy. Okay. So this one store was in Seattle, and they were doing it, and it just didn't work. And
Yeah.
he's like, "Hey, I know a store in Cutoff, Louisiana, that is perfect for this." And they're like, "Okay." So they just shot down one day, and my boss called us in and said, "Hey, we got some people from a television show that are coming to film a TV show, kind of crazy, like they want to see the wild side of things." And I'm like, "This is it.
That's your chance.
This is the time. Step up. Don't fuck up right here." So when they showed up, like I did everything. We had the cops called on us and everything because I stole one of the guys that works there's truck. The producer was in the back of the truck. Okay, he's in the Kess. For
Yeah.
people that live below Highway 90, that's the back of the truck.
Sure.
So he's in the back of the truck holding on with the camera, and I look in the rearview mirror and I see the most fearful face. And so this guy's worked on like Deadliest Catch and like Swamp People, and I'm holding the steering wheel of this truck going, I got this dude fucking scared. This is awesome. So I'm whipping donuts, and I hear like a rumble in the back, and I look, and he's gone. I'm like, oh no, I killed him. So when I look, he had dropped the camera out of the truck, and he'd laid down in the Kess and pushed his arms against the side, and he's
To
like,
pin himself in.
yeah, he goes, do not move this truck again. Let me out. So while he's getting out, I see the cops are coming into the pasture where I had brought this truck. And I was like, this is not good. So I got out the driver's side door and just ran. And this is all on film in some director's office that has never
Like into
hit
the little
TV.
patch of woods back there by the levee?
All they had was a 40-acre canal. If they would have chased me, I was in the canal. I had already made up my mind. I said, there's TV cameras here. I'm making it either way.
Dude, yeah.
Anyway,
Hell yeah.
possible.
That's
Go
the
big
wa-
or go home.
Even if you got to get arrested for a day.
Right.
I mean, dude,
it wasn't the first time.
Dude, okay, so like you
But that
basically
show-
showed what you got.
Right.
Yeah.
And that show never hit air. They were just kind of like,
Man.
this is a little too much.
Aw.
What?
Yeah, well, I drove a forklift on 3235. I threw a beer on the highway because we were drinking and forklifting, I guess. But it was a little bit too much. So,
Pussies.
We live in a liberal country, people.
right.
Dude, this was like what, 2010?
Okay.
Snowflake
So you're-
world.
Something like that.
You were ahead of your time because shit like that now
Oh,
would have
kill it.
sold back then. Oh my
A
god!
visionary, if you will.
Yeah,
By
pioneer.
accident or purpose, we still don't know. But anyway, I kept those connections because before that producer left, I went and I told him, I was like, hey, I want your phone number so I could send you stuff. He's like, dude, I can't give out my phone number. I was like, well, give me your email, something. I said, I want to keep in contact with you. So he's like, okay, cool. So throughout the rest of the career I had at Keith Hardware, I would send him videos and stuff of everything I would do. And I ended up, Keith Hardware kind of fell off. Like they started cutting their time and I could see things were going downhill. So I just walked out one day. I threw my radio in the garbage. I got in a little argument with the chick out there and I just said, fuck it. Took my radio off, threw it in the garbage, and I said, y'all figure this shit out, and walked out. I do suggest everyone in their lifetime say fuck it and walk out on a job. 'Cause
Rage quit.
I've done it 15 or 16.
it will change you. It will make you feel like
It does make you feel better. People say
Right.
it doesn't. Bullshit.
Absolutely.
I call
Right.
bullshit.
I called my dad. My dad's like, oh, you shouldn't have done it. And I was like, it felt so good.
And you know those people that say, hey, don't ever burn that bridge. You never know when you need to cross it again. Dude,
Fuck
I
that.
burned some
Right,
bridges
learn-
to the fucking pilings, bro.
Learn how to swim. Yeah, figure it out.
I'm a coon ass. I can dig out a pirogue. Fuck it.
Right. So anyway, I left that job, and actually I couldn't find anything for about 3 weeks, and I found a place where I could clean fish and shrimp.
Yeah.
It was called Bob's Seafood, which is now closed too. But I worked there for about 2 years, and one afternoon I get a phone call, did not recognize the number, and when I answer the phone, the dude goes, Rattlesnakedre, you ready to be on TV, bruh? And I just went, what the fuck? He's
Holy
like,
shit.
dude, I have you a TV spot, and I already told the guy that you'd be down for it because I figured you were the type of guy that would be down for it. I was like, okay.
I'm
So he's
down
like,
for it.
okay. He says, what if I fly down to Louisiana in 2 days? Can you like take a month off of work? I was like, I'm gonna go tell my boss right now, regardless of what he says. I will be ready in 2 days. So
Fucking right.
in 2 days from that fateful day of them calling me, they pull in my driveway, and I had been talking on the phone with the guy, and he gets out and he goes, Rattlesnakedre. He's like, you ever thought Hollywood would pull up in your driveway? And I just told him, yeah, bro, yes. And he's like, awesome. So they came, they sat me down, they did an interview, they sent us to some guys in Los Angeles. They said, awesome. Here's $250,000. Go make an episode to put on the History Channel. So 2 weeks later, I jumped in my truck, took off to Covington, and we filmed for about 15 days. And I was on an episode of Return of Shelby the Swamp Man. I was on episode 4. And on air, I like to say, fuck you, Shelby.
That's awesome.
You've heard it here
That's great,
first.
dude. That's-
and probably not.
That's a
Well,
sick
listen.
story.
last.
I've never met this dude.
Yeah.
Okay, he was in the same hotel as me. and they were all going to get their shirts signed, and they were like, come on, man, we're going to go meet Shelby, dude. He's so crazy. I was like, dude, I'm from Galliano. I know 15 motherfuckers like him, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't need him to sign shit. I was like, he makes
Yeah, my
us...
fucking uncle's like that.
Right. I was like, he puts on a nice fucking show for the rest of America to make us think like, look at this crazy dude, blah, 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 blah.
A digestible form of...
Yeah, we got dudes that do that on lunch break.
Right. Well, we have dudes that do that and make $100,000 a year. We got dudes that do that start their own businesses, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
That are not just some fucktard, basically.
They take their personality and market it and brand it and all that
Right.
good jazz.
Right.
So sponsored by Fuck You, Shelby.
So I know I'm going to catch a bunch of hate, but one thing you do need to remember is if you ever become famous, even a tiny, tiny bit like I did, do not go read the comments after you are on TV, because the world is brutal, and if your skin is not 3 inches thick, you will be hurt.
So, of course, we have to follow up with...
Yes.
What did they tell
Okay.
you that you...
What got you so butthurt?
Well, this
what's
is
outstanding? You
yeah.
know?
I have to deflect some of that pain that I shot out at towards Shelby.
That's
I mean,
what this show's for, baby.
Yeah, he's kind of an idiot, but the reason why when my episode hit YouTube, a lot of my friends are like, "Holy fuck, dude! Your name popped up as a go check this episode out."
Mm-hmm.
And one of my buddies is like, "Bro, don't go read the comments." And I'm like, "How are you gonna tell me not to go read the comments?" So I go
Now I
look.
gotta read them.
Right, I just go kind of scroll and I go look and I see, I'm like, oh fuck, 200 comments. I'm like, I'm gonna read a couple. And they started off with like, who the fuck is this? Who the fuck are these two dweebs? Who the fuck is this? And what's bad is my producer told me, and I didn't realize exactly. Like there was multiple producers. There's one of them that I'm really close to. I still talk to him all the time. He's actually an independent producer now, which I wish him the best of luck because he's really a good guy. He told me, he's like, when you leave here, it doesn't matter how good the show does, you will have haters. The more haters you have means the better you did.
You did something right if you got
That's
haters,
why we
man.
welcome them
Right.
on this show.
So there was a lot of people that were expecting to see Shelby, because what happened was Shelby was fired from his show because the camera guys refused to work. Yeah. What
I
happened
refuse to film you.
Well, yeah, and I know in detail what happened. So what happened was they filmed about 4 or 5 episodes, and then I'm not going to say he was on drugs, but maybe he was. If I had to bet,
So he was on drugs.
probably. So you said
Our
not me.
sources say.
Well, so one could say that possibility could have happened.
I saw that shit on Reddit.
Right, there you go. It's not from me. So anyway, Shelby was filming a scene, and he shot inside of his houseboat at a camera guy over his head 3 times with a live round. And the camera guy put his camera down and was just like, I'm not working with this dude ever again. And they packed up all their shit, but they had,
But nobody kicked the shit out of him?
I guess not.
Man, I'd have
Pussies.
kicked the shit out of him.
Pussies.
Gotta remember. Yeah.
That's fucked.
God
So-
damn, man. That's fucking wild.
So they had 4 or 5 episodes of this season filmed, and I know it took like over $200,000 just to film the little bit that we did.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that it took about $250,000 for every episode. Because just in the episode I was in, they rented jet skis, airplanes, airboats, wetsuits.
Some big ass production.
Right.
Yeah.
So
That's fucking crazy.
Right.
Holy shit.
So
yeah.
they had all those episodes recorded, and they needed to finish that season because they were on contract or whatever. So they told the producer, you need to figure out some way to end this season. We don't have Shelby anymore. One of the last episodes they filmed with Shelby, they dug up this big anchor from a pirate ship or whatever. So they said, cool, we're going to link this to pirate ship or pirate treasure. The producer said, boom, I know a dude in Louisiana, not far from there. He's our guy.
You made that connect to that person that mattered the most.
Because that was the
right there.
motherfucker that I said, give me your phone number. And he's
Yeah,
like,
dude.
I'm not, you're a crazy asshole from Louisiana. I'm not giving you my phone number. And I'm like, give me something.
That shit ain't coincidence, man.
No.
You set that up for yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like I said,
Seize that opportunity.
From a young age, I knew I was doing something. Still to this day, don't know what I'm doing yet, but I'm doing it. And I'm doing it 100 miles an hour.
Fucking right, man.
So quick question for you. So Shelby, This is the same Shelby from the show Axeman and also Legend of Shelby the Swamp Man,
That's
correct?
him,
Okay,
yeah.
so he was on Axeman. Okay,
Yeah, it started on Axeman and then it broke off to his own show because he's a complete maniac.
So
He was wielding axes at people on drugs.
He spun off.
He's all methed
to
out
his
wielding
own
an
thing.
axe.
Basically.
And then he got so fucking out of hand that they needed to finish the season to make ends meet, like to justify the cost of what they already spent.
They had people that bought commercial ads, and they were like, "You better come up with a show,
There's
bro."
some commitment there, yeah,
Right.
yeah. Holy man, that's fucking crazy. That I didn't realize how much budgetary shit goes into a production like that. You know, like you wouldn't think that much goes into a show like that, right?
That's
But-
why I'm so happy that it's evolving into the History Channel will no longer be existing. They're going to have shows like what you have in this one room right here is going to be the next big thing.
Yeah,
Because it took
all
millions,
self-production,
right? It took millions of dollars for them to make something that basically fucking crashed and burned. 'Cause
Right.
it was not a fucking hit. The show did, I think it did a little bit over 1 million views.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't rehire me. But,
Because I honestly never heard of it until Tyler told me about you.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
It wasn't a big hit. But hey, I was on
Like
national
Shelby,
TV,
the shit turtle. What's his name?
Like the legend
What's the
of-
show? The
like the
legend
show-
of. Like, where's this guy from? He's
the
a,
Legend of Shelby the Swamp Man. They got
if
like
he's a
6
swamp
point-
man, what swamp is he from? Where's he from?
Like I'm
He's
looking
supposed to
at
be from
up,
here.
allegedly.
He's from Covington area.
Oh no!
Oh no! He a Yankee then.
Yeah, it's
You
not
would've-
even swamp.
You would have been my first call too. You know, like
Yeah. Even if I didn't sell my soul to Hollywood.
So what happened on your episode?
What happened on my episode was we went and we looked for a train ride. This was actually pretty cool. Like I give it to the History Channel because when they called me and they said we need to do a show about treasure hunting, I started putting stuff together because I had already started filming and making, growing my YouTube channel. So I was like, okay, I'm going to come up with a storyline just in case they need it. I'm going to have this ready. I'm going to have that ready. And I actually brought up boxes and bags of stuff that I had found in previous treasure hunts because I had talked to the producer and I was showing him pictures and he's like, dude, bring everything you can. Like, I was like, okay, like, what do you mean? He's like, everything you ever found, everything that has a crazy story, bring it.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool, I'm gonna do it. So when I got there, they introduced me to a story of Eugene Bunch. And this guy was a legit guy, true story. 1880s, he was robbing trains from Texas to New Orleans, and his persona was the gentleman train robber, and he murdered people, he shot people. He was actually on a train. He would rob all the men, and he would allow the women to keep their stuff because he was a gentleman. He didn't want to harm them or
okay.
anything.
Nice guy.
What a nice guy.
And one of the coolest stories that I learned was he was robbing people on the train with a pistol, and one of the dudes told him, like, you're not robbing me because, I'm tough or whatever. And he fucking shot him in the face and killed him right there, right on the train.
Set the example.
Right.
God
and I'm sure
damn.
the rest of the people on that train were like, here's my shit.
Here you
Here's
go.
my shit.
It ain't that serious. Here you go.
Right. You can
Here's my fucking
Here's
gold.
my pocket watch.
My doubloons.
and
whatever
$2.
fuck.
Right.
Holy shit!
But he was actually killed by Pinkerton agents, which was back in the day they were kind of like the FBI.
Mm-hmm.
And he had an accomplice, and the accomplice just put his hands up, walked out, was taken into custody, and 6 Pinkerton agents told him to come out or they were going to kill him. And he always said, and I will hold to this mark because this is how I feel too. I want to die with my boots on. Do not let me die in a bed, an old man. I want to die with my boots on.
Yeah.
Raging.
Yeah, I agree.
However I go.
I'm supposed to do it, right?
Right. Yeah. Cheers to that, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, guys.
And
I'll drink to that.
he took that to the grave, and he charged 6 of them and was shot to death in a valley in Covington somewhere, and they still don't know
That's
where.
badass.
We have valleys here.
It was called a hollow, but I've never heard of a hollow.
No, not down here.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
like-
like Mississippi shit, I guess.
So is that pretty much when the treasure hunting thing kind of started? Is with the History Channel? Or is it? I mean, what gets you into that?
The History Channel actually And I mean, this is crazy, but I watched Indiana Jones one too many fucking times when I was little.
Started digging up shit.
And people rag me on that and stuff, but
No,
I
dude,
don't
that's
give a
fucking
shit.
awesome, man.
That is some of the best movies, man.
There's quite a few people online that have treasure hunting on the beach, whatever, and some of it's kind of lame. The reason I like your stuff is because Civil War bullets, stuff like that, that's great.
Right.
You know, that's the kind of stuff that interests me. Finding some whore's wedding ring on the beach because, you know. I found him in bed with his fucking receptionist.
And then the inside of the band says, like,
yeah,
the
you
inside
found
of
a
the band's like forever or
$20,000
some
ring. The
shit.
diamond's not worth shit and it's only worth its weight in gold. Go pawn it.
There's no
What do you
fucking
got?
story I give a fuck
Yeah.
about there.
Right, and that's what you hit on. I've done both. I've found multiple rings on beaches before. They end up all going into my gal wears them. She just steals them from me. But as soon as I started doing the historical stuff and getting on all these old battlefields and stuff, it took on a completely new light. One of my things I tell a lot of people that always come to me and say, man, I want to get a metal detector. I tell them, if you want to be rich, I'll give you a secret. Get a very good job and go to work every day.
Don't do this.
Do not buy a metal detector
Right.
and think you will get rich. If you want to figure out stories that have never been told before, ever, get you a metal detector because that's what you really discover.
Yeah.
I've figured out stories and different things that were not even known. I've even gotten in an argument with a professor from Nicholls State. Only because when he figured out I didn't graduate from college, that's when he blew me off. But I was like, dude, I have stuff from the Civil War that's 150 years old where they had a battle that's not recorded, but you don't give a shit because I didn't graduate.
Right.
Fuck that.
Yeah, did somebody come
Someone
in?
just planted
There's
that
one
shit.
thing that
Somebody-
we preach on this show, and is that experience and knowledge trumps that degree any fucking day.
Right,
Absolutely.
right. Because I've learned more stuff from doing metal detecting. Because I'll find something and I'm not quite sure what it is. I know it's old just because I've done it long enough, and you come to find out, holy shit! I dug up an entire rifle from the Civil War.
Holy shit.
I have a double barrel rifle.
I would like to see that.
Similar
be awesome.
to this right here. I have the old school cocking hammers, like the ones that
Hammer
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, like
And it's a double barrel. And the craziest thing is, I went on online to figure out how to clean it because it was full of rust. When I figured it out, what it was, so I put it through an electrolysis bath. So I left it in the bath for about 3 days. I take it out and I'm washing all the rust out, and bullets rolled out of the end of the barrel.
Oh, wow.
I was like,
shit.
So you still have like a
shit.
musket, ball and wad. It's still in there coming
Right.
out. So let me ask you this: Civil War, big in the South. We're in Louisiana. Were you only going to like Civil War battlefields here in the state of Louisiana, or were you going everywhere in the South, like Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi?
I've actually dug up bullets all the way from Tennessee all the way down to Louisiana.
Oh man, okay.
So I went on a trip to Tennessee. Shout out to my boy Bird Dog. He's a crazy dude. Crazy
My
dude.
bird dogging days are done.
Dude, that's him. That's him. You
shit.
nailed it.
Nailed it.
Embodiment, son.
But listen, he has a channel on YouTube, and he's crazy. He knows way more shit than I'll ever know. He has a huge collection. He has cannonballs just sitting all over his room, this big. And he even digs stuff from the War of 1812. He has
Wow, holy shit.
stuff when George Washington was alive, different little buttons and stuff.
That's fucking nuts.
That's cool.
So whenever I showed up at his house, he was just like, oh, dude, check out all this. And I'm like, I want to go home and bend my metal detector over my fucking knee. I don't even know what I'm doing. But, look, he's one of the champions. He's been doing it for a while. His dad did it before him, and his dad still go out and do it. But
That's awesome, though. That you found a community, who really give a fuck about not only the art of doing it, but the history behind what you uncover. And I think when we had talked about it that one time about like how you got to hit on where this comes from almost as much as finding it in a video. That's what's intriguing to people,
Right.
You could easily take, the production side of it and plant where you originally found it, just put it back, and then now you know where it is, dig
Right.
it up.
And that's basically what we did on the History Channel. Everything that was on the episode that I was on was not dug up live on TV. This was all dug in Thibodaux, Louisiana, which has a shit ton of history that nobody realizes. The actual spot where Nickel State University was a Union camp where I found bullets. We found belt buckles, pieces of swords. There was thousands of soldiers there. Nobody knows it.
They don't want to talk about that right now either. Especially right now.
I'm from here and didn't know that.
And listen, this is a good story because I know I've listened to a lot of y'all podcasts and I can see that y'all are well traversed in the Kunas ways.
We call it the Kunasification of America.
But I want to let y'all know how truly badass the Kunas people were because my great-great-grandfather came here and trapped rats. So you can fuck yourself with your white privilege. My great-grandpa was trapping and eating rats. And all they had was a houseboat. They didn't own any land. And he did that for years and years and sold pelts. And he traded with Indians for watermelons that were original Indians in this area.
Wow.
You know, there was no hate. Everybody was trying to help each other back then.
It was
You know,
a real community.
and I'm sure there's still knuckleheads out there that are saying stupid shit. But I'm just saying personally, my family, since my great-great-grandfather was struggling, I mean, we legitimately ate rats, my ancestors. They were called muskrats. You know why? Because they smelled musky, like shit. So they... You know, I don't understand where they said, oh, generational wealth and stuff. I was like, oh, my grandpa ate some rats and skinned these suckers in the marsh to make sure that I could have a truck and a house and a good life.
Dude, I would love to have some of these little snowflakes go into Papa's house and see that fucking ballin' pot, and he's making that hog head cheese, and that whole head's floating in that motherfucker boiling.
Right.
They wouldn't know what to do. That shit.
Throw up shit and piss all.
And then cry to Peter.
And I really don't. Think. Like, I really don't think that we need to, like, destroy these people or harm these people. I think they just need to be converted. If you would take them down here and actually show them the way that Cajun people live, and I'm talking south of Highway 90, New Orleans is not Cajun people.
No, that's Creole.
Right. Come down here, see the love that the people have. You will understand. Everybody has a garden where I live. We all trade still. You know, same thing that was done 100 years ago. You know, I made probably 300 pounds of vegetables this year in my garden.
Oh, bad.
Yeah. So, you know, we still have abundance. The stores could close down. You could riot and burn shit down.
That's what we said. COVID closed down. We still eating, man.
Right.
We still doing it strong.
Bayou is 100 feet away from my house that I catch fish in and eat today still. So. But I wanted to let y'all know how strong the Cajun people were. Okay, doesn't matter how you feel about history. The Union and the Confederates were fighting. They were fighting for slavery and multiple other reasons. But to let you know, south of Thibodaux, Union and Confederate soldiers did not go south of Thibodaux. Okay, you know that Thibodaux is north of Highway 90.
Yeah. Right.
The reason why is because the Cajun people shot and killed Confederates and Unions and told them to keep their fucking war up the bayou.
Holy shit, that's badass.
That comes from older people that their grandfathers told them that their grandfathers are actually...
And you're actively out on the field interviewing people from our area to find about the stories that go behind the treasures you find.
Because I'm meeting with these guys that are 80 years old, 90 years old, and they're telling me their grandfathers were trawlers and their grandfathers were trappers, and they would push lumber and they'd have houseboats that would bring produce up and down by Lafourche. And when they heard that the armies were coming down marching, they said,
fuck that.
I lost pa.
So
I lost pa. They're not coming down here.
So basically it's like Switzerland, but with guns at the end of the day.
Right.
Dude, and what's fucking crazy to me is that same culture and mentality is still fucking there.
Yeah.
And I'd hate to see
We've talked about it so many times. I mean,
yeah.
the media will sit there and talk about the Cajun Navy. You haven't seen the uprising of the Cajun Navy yet. You've only seen bits and pieces of what the Cajun people can do, not only in our community, but outspread, because they don't even realize what our population is until we come out of the woodwork.
Right.
The Cajun Navy is straight up, one, doing what we know is right, and two, we're bored.
Right.
So
Because we already killed everything. We fixed everything in the house.
We've eaten
Everything's
everything.
crazy.
it's not flooded anymore at my mom's house.
Right.
We drained that
But
out.
that just goes to show you how much love is in our people's hearts.
Yeah,
because
man.
traditionally, the Cajun people come from Canada. My ancestors came from France. Okay, they left France, went to Canada. The Canadian people, which are peace-loving, everybody says, "Oh, everybody's so nice in Canada." Well, they were kicked out of Canada. They were run out, shot at, and they bounced along the East Coast until they ended up in the swamps of Louisiana, where nobody wanted. Nobody wanted that land. There was nothing you can do with it.
Right.
You know, it wasn't even close to New Orleans. So that's where the Acadian, all these Cajun people stayed, because nobody wanted it. And we found with hard work and you never give up. You're gonna eat rats sometimes, but you're gonna make it. And that's why I love our heritage, and I can prove some of these points because I've never found a Civil War bullet south of Thibodeau.
That's fucking nuts,
They
man.
That's
never
amazing.
made it. So that story goes to show, and I've searched plenty. Look, I've gotten kicked out of people's yards. I've had farmers chase me out because I go in a lot of
Coach O told you to get out of his fucking yard. You just caught crossing his yard in the middle of the night.
Couldn't catch me if he tried. But it's those stories that keep me going, and that's the stuff I love. I can care less. Like, I have silver coins that are 200 years old that I've found, but I have Civil War bullets that are mushroomed out.
You know what's something that amazes
they
me?
entered a man's chest.
That's pretty badass.
You find a lot of what you find is still intact.
Right.
I mean, bro, you've seen what swamp mud can do.
Right.
The mud down here is corrosive, and to see when you pull something out of the ground that old, that is, I mean, it's almost in perfect shape, very little wear to it. It's like it's encapsulated in time. It just blows my mind.
Well, I definitely think I'm not good enough. Like, I haven't studied enough to find that stuff. That stuff was calling me to go and dig it up.
So you feel like some type of...
You could tell me I'm
connection.
full of shit. You could tell me whatever.
No, because
you
let me
want.
tell you something. I've been on battle sites. There's something about a battleground.
It has a vibration.
It does, and it also has a spirit to it.
Right.
So you can feel an edge there. There's a lot of emotion. When my wife and I went to Toledo Bend last summer, on the way back, we stopped off at this rest area, and it just so happened to be one of those battlegrounds. They had the plaque and all, and she's like, "Man, doesn't it feel eerie?" And I said, "It does." I said, "But you know what? Every single place I've ever been like this, it's the same feeling. It's both bitter and sweet at the same time. It's a hard thing to explain. I don't know really how to put it into words, but I just know that tension is always there, So I understand, like, I do believe you when you say that there's some type of connection that you feel to it,
It's like you holding in a sneeze. Like that vibration.
You feel it coming.
You feel
Sometimes
something.
I hold in a sneeze. You ever seen that on the TikTok, dick hole down?
But there is something very weird where I drive a lot for my job that I have now, and I pass through Thibodeau, through Houma, all the way to Pierrepont, and I'll pass these cane fields, and I'm always looking because I want to see if there's any evidence of an old house, or because I'm going to give up some of my secrets on this show too if you want to become a treasure hunter. So when these cane farmers plow their fields, okay, they're going to plow them, and there's still going to be branches and crap in there. But right before they plant, they're going to go and plow again, and that dirt's going to be perfect. There's not going to be anything in there. Look while you're driving. Glance, okay? Don't stare, because you're going to wreck. So look while you're driving, and you can see a glitter of some glass, or you'll see a bunch of oyster shells scattered in the field. Those aren't from the people that are working sometimes. Those are from houses that were there 200 years ago, because there was a lot of Spanish settlements down here, and they would love oysters, so they would eat oysters. And in the pits where they would throw all their garbage is where I find these old bottles, 200-year-old inkwells where people were riding under candlelight with a feather, and I find this inkwell still intact. Now, that field's been plowed for over 150 years. How did that plow not hit that inkwell? That inkwell was waiting for me to come there so I could tell the story.
Absolutely. I love that you have a calling and that you believe in what you do so much that it embodies you as a personality. And I think what the main thing here is that, I mean, obviously it's a positive message, right? But at the same time, you're more driven than ever
Right.
to just keep going and keep doing this, because not because you even want to anymore, just because it's part of you. Like,
Right.
it's like breathing at this point.
It's totally not about the money now. I have a very good job where I make plenty money, enough money where my gal she's a photographer, so she's following her dream. But I do this just because I cannot get it out of my head.
Yeah.
Even if I would want to say today's the last day, I don't have time for it anymore, I want to have a kid now, or I want to focus on this, I'm not allowed to, for whatever reason, whether it's me or whether it's just the stories that are using me as a vessel to pour all this out to people.
Yeah.
Because in school, okay, I loved history, but I didn't enjoy it. Okay, and I think through YouTube, through TikTok, through doing this with you guys on your podcast you have here, people are going to get interested again. And I was telling Tyler this the other day. I think that video games, with all the shooting and stuff, it started off as just like, oh, we're going to obliterate people. Now the storylines are so intense.
Yeah.
Right.
And I have an addictive personality, so I can't play video games anymore. One day I just grabbed my shit, brought it to the pawn shop. That way I could focus on doing things like this. But I think in the future, that's how kids are going to learn. And I hope that there's still a few people like me that are a lot smarter than me that could actually put these actual parts of history into whatever this technology is creating, because it's definitely creating itself.
Make a really kick-ass Oregon Trail.
Right. And with the virtual reality that's coming out,
That's what you was telling me.
it's coming, man. It's coming. One day I'm going to put some type of helmet on my head and I go treasure hunt, and I'm going to have 15,000 people out there with me.
Thank you for listening to the Dank Swamp Rebellion. Listen in next week for part 2 of Rattlesnakedre. And now for the Rebellion's debut song inspired by Rattlesnakedre.
It calls to him like tiny embers spread across time, a place unknown that can't be forgotten.
Thank you for listening to Dank Swamp Rebellion. Check us out on dsrtalks.com.